Right, can we start with the salawat, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajham. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bit dodgy. Another salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajham. So tonight is the 17th of Ramadan. The 16th is dedicated to Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Faraja. So today think about him. But the night is Battle of Badr. And since I was this high, I can't even, what I can remember about the 17th of Ramadan is that we won. My grandmother used to give us these shiny new coins just to say we won. And I think when we started children's classes here, the first thing we did was make these badges with "We won." You wanted the children to understand what the Battle of Badr was about. It has a phenomenal effect on the psyche. And also there are amals to be done from today to the end of Ramadan if you want to make the impossible possible. It really does work. In fact, if I can say, the explanation behind the amal says, even if you want to change a baby in the womb, you can do that. Now, for me, that is just magical. It's amazing. Okay, right, here we go. First of all, so the Battle of Badr is sort of one of the greatest battles. You've got to first understand that the Prophet was never looking for battles. It was always self-defense. He never wanted to fight anyone. I mean, there's no such thing as him looking for it. I was quite saddened because I go to schools quite often. Pre-COVID, I used to go longer than I do now. I go a bit less now. But pre-COVID, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And I remember in one of the classes I had, there was some senior classes. And I said, we had a list of prophets from the Bible, from the Torah, from whatever, from the Vedas. So put all the names down, and I said, can you draw something near that prophet? I remember very clearly, near Adam, they put an apple. Near Nuh, they put a boat. Near Musa, they put a stick that changed into the snake, right? Near Jesus, they put a cross. But near the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they put a sword. I just sat down for a minute, and I said, I'm sorry, but that is not happening. And so every school I went to, I used the same thing, and I would change their perception because that's not what the Prophet is about. So the battle was nothing about that. Basically, what it was, that the Quraysh were really angry because now they've moved out. And when your ego is hurt, you tend to go different. So they wanted to they just ruin the Prophet. So they got together everything they had, all together, their army, their equipment, their everything, and we're going to go and destroy Medina. The Prophet did not want them to come to Medina. So he gets together 300, where the number 313 comes from? I hear it in everything these days. But 313, you say, will be the companions of Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Faraja. It's not just 313. They will be 313 leaders of many, many people. So never think, if my name is not amongst the 313, I'm a bit lost. You're not lost. Okay? But that's a different story altogether. So 313 men, 2 horses, 70 camels, they go towards Badr. Badr is like a stopping point. Where people on caravans come and stop. That's what Badr is all about. So they stop there. Okay? The Quraysh, meanwhile, have 1,000 men and equipped men. They have 100 horses and they have 700 camels. But it doesn't phase the Muslims out because there is a trust in God. Now you can imagine these 2 armies, and they take a different route, they go round, you can read all about it in history. All I can tell you is that these 2 armies meet at Badr in 2 after Hijrah on the 17th of Ramadan. Now you can imagine, just imagine these new Muslims, okay? Can I have the next slide, please? So now, this is where Allah tells the Prophet how he helped. Next slide, please. We're going to first look at what you do when you are faced with a battle where there's an overwhelming difficulty. What do you do? And it's not just a battle where you're going in the battlefield. You have battles with your kids. Your kids are young. Wait till they get to be teenagers. And they become little people. Have you met little people? I mean, everything is a challenge. They're beautiful. They have their own thinking, and you got to agree. Well, not agree. You got to listen to them. But sometimes they talk crap. But you still got to listen to them. And they're challenging. They're really challenging. So you got to plan a strategy. And the strategy is not shouting. Definitely not. It doesn't get you anywhere. The strategy is to listen, but not to condone. To listen and not to say that I agree with you. I will listen to you, and then we'll work out what's the right way forward. But anyway, so plan a strategy for a challenge. And I can tell you, if you think that you will not face challenges with your children, then you're living in cuckoo land. You definitely will. Even when they're that young, that tiny, they say no. Have you tried? Actually say no. And you say, really? No? But it happens. Anyway, I've had 5 and 9 grandkids. I'm not talking just out of the top of my head, okay? All right. So the second thing is, once you've planned your strategy, don't just work on it straight away. Ask him for help, and we'll do the dua of the Prophet just now, because you saw in the previous ayah that when he asks for help, Allah helps. Quran continually says, Ad'uni astajib lakum. Call me and I will answer you. But call me. Tell me to come. And then do your best. And then 44, if you remember, وَفَوِّضُ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. Can I have the next slide, please? Now I'm going to go over this dua. Next one, please. Let's go to the next one, then we'll come back to this. So this is the dua of the Prophet. So he's looking at all these, and he's here on his own. With the 313 ill-equipped soldiers, the 2 horses, and the 70 camels. Okay? So now he's thinking, this is the dua he does. We're told in the midst of the battle, he raises his hands in dua. Okay? So let's just go over the English translation. I'm sure you can read the Arabic. I think Fatim's going to put a QR code somewhere and you can download it, or you can find it on QByte. So I think she's also put it on your Telegram list today, so you can find it there. So say you don't know Arabic, right? You're not comfortable with it. It's okay. This is the sort of sentiment you should have. You are my trust in every distress. Now you can imagine sitting at a dining table and these kids are just talking, right? Look, let me try and explain to you. My children have grown up, all of them. They range from 42 to 22, so they're pretty much grown up. But they all bring their children up differently. One has positive parenting, one has strict parenting, one has medium parenting. So the challenge is, as a grandmother, to sit there and watch them and not say anything. They're probably going to listen to this and think crazy. But the thing is to sit, the difficult challenge, and that's a battle, is to sit there and say, what the heaven are you doing? You understand where I'm coming from, right? Okay. So the challenge is this battle where you try and keep quiet and let them do their best, because they're parents. They know what they want to do with their children. They don't actually, but they do. So you let them do that. So here we go. So you say, before you open your mouth, you are my trust in every distress. You can read the Arabic, it's beautiful. You're my hope in every difficulty, right? Help me keep my mouth shut. You are in every matter my support and my help. إِيَّكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You've got it here in different writing. You can do that. You turn sorrows that you have, you turn them into something that's better. You make it really good. I complain only to you. Remember yesterday we did through Surah number 12, Ayah 86. Surah to Yusuf, Ayah 86. إِنَّمَا أَشْكُ بَثِّي وَهُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. I'm only complaining to you. Make it easy. Take this away from me. You are enough for me. You are the one who will fulfill all my needs. You're the giver of everything, and you're the one who will sort out all my problems. وَصَاحِبَ كُلِّ حَاجَةٍ. I think it's somewhere here. وَصَاحِبَ كُلِّ حَاجَةٍ. You will sort it out. Say that to him. Can I have the slide before that? And when he does that, look what Allah says. He says to him, إِذْ when you did istighatha. You know what istighatha is? It's not just a dua. Istighatha is like from here, you are stuck. You don't know who else to go to. You're pleading for help. So when you pleaded Rabbakum to your Rabb, fastajaba lakum, what did he do? He replied to you. Anni mumaddikum bi alfin min al malaikati. He helped you. You know what madad is, don't you? You know it in any language. He helped you with 1,000 angels, murdifin, one after the other. I say this when I look at the aftermath of after the kids have left. You haven't been there, have you? Well, when you get to be a grandma and you have 5 children and 9 grandchildren and they go home and then you look at your house. It looks beautiful, well used. At that time, you want 1,000 angels to come and clean up. No? Okay. They do. They tell their children to tidy up. But have you watched children tidy up? Anything under the sofa is tidy up. Okay? So here, and I know I'm making it lighthearted, but this ayah is beautiful to remember. And if you can't remember it, just say 8, 9. Can you remember 8, 9? So remember 8, ayah number 9. Now, there is a particular amal to be done. Start tonight. Okay? Start with the salawat. Not difficult? Right? Start with the salawat. Recite this 14 times. End with the salawat after Salatul Isha. Do it for the rest of Ramadan and see how the impossible becomes possible. You've got it on your Telegram group. It's there. Just that ayah. You've got it in your Quran, 8, 9. And I keep on telling the children, if you forget and you don't know, Allah knows what 8, 9 is. Just say 8, 9, 14 times and then try and read it once and maybe twice and maybe thrice and whenever you can. But try and do this after Isha. Has a phenomenal effect. Read the dua of the Prophet, read this 14 times. From today up to the night of Eid and see what happens. It definitely changes a lot of stuff. Okay. Can I now go to Laylat al-Qadr, please? So we're going to now swap to Laylat al-Qadr. And yesterday I talked about these 3, 19, 21, and 23. If you remember, I said 19, you set your budget. On the 21st, it's distributed. And on the 23rd, is stamped. So in other words, I put paper, stone, and seal. Basically, on the 19th, you've got paper. And then it's etched on stone. And then it's sealed. Okay, so 19, 21, 23rd. I'm not going to see you until Tuesday when we do the amal for the 21st. So we're going to go through the 19th. So this is what is recommended. Can I have the next slide? So we've got a time management sheet. The first thing, which is before tomorrow night, before Sunday night, today is Friday, before Sunday night, make a list of your aspirations. We've already talked about that. You need to have the list in front of you. You know, when they do the amals or they do dua tawassul or they do anything and they say hajat. I mean, you're surrounded by so many people, you tend to forget. Sometimes you say, I just want her to be quiet for a minute or him to be quiet or whatever you want. But if you've got a list in front of you, you're far more focused. I don't know whether you have a dua book. Do you have a dua book? Your dua book should be totally annotated. I'll bring mine on Tuesday and you can see it. The next thing is to give sadaqah. Give sadaqah now with the niyyah of Laylatul Qadr. Make sure it gets there. Not in your box that's sitting outside your, I don't know, your front door or whatever it is. Make sure it gets there. Just make sure you can send it to people who use it. There are so many organizations we have today who will ensure that your money gets to where it's supposed to. I'm not going to name any because it's not fair to if I forget one. But there's so many, starting from Zahra Trust to Who is Hussein to World Federation. There's so many. Okay? So pick one that you can trust, one you've worked with, get the sadaqah over there. Do ghusl before the night. Okay, if you've got kids and you think, I can't do ghusl at Maghrib time, do it earlier. It's okay. He knows. He knows you've got children. Unless you thought he didn't know, but he does. He knows you haven't got time. He knows you just try and find the time whenever you can. So do ghusl. And do ghusl with the niyyah of Laylatul Qadr. Then you've got Salatul Maghrib and Isha. I pray Maghrib and Isha separately. You know, it's Maghrib and then maybe Iftar and then when it comes to time to Isha. But you can pray it together. That's fine. That's not a problem at all. Then you'll do Iftar. I know I've put it down in step by step, but I put it down in time-wise as well. Iftar on Laylatul Qadr must be light. It must be. Otherwise, you'll go to sleep. You just won't be able to get off the sofa. I don't know whether you've tried. And then you'll doze. And then khalas. So, iftar always start with Suratul Qadr. Heavens are open. Ask for your dua. Allahumma laka sumna wa ala rizkika aftarna fataqabbal minna innaka anta samiul alim. Don't eat your dates. Ask him for forgiveness. And then ya wasi al maghfira ikfir. These are small things. Make sure the children know as well. Just won't eat be without them, right? Next one. Salah of Laylatul Qadr. Now you could pray that with your Maghrib and Isha if you wanted. So your Salah will be 2 rakat Salah, Fatiha 7 times Ikhlas in each rakat, and then 70 times Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilay. You are told in all the ahadith that you will not lift your head from your Salah and your parents will be forgiven. Now I would encourage my children to pray because they're like a sinless tongue for you. You want forgiveness. Their prayers for you is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So with you, I would get them to pray 2 rakats. Okay, 17, 8 or 7 times. It's okay. You will do 70, they will do 7 times. Remember your parents, how high so forever. How high? When I say parents, I don't just mean mom and dad. I mean grandmas, grandparents, great-grandmas, great-grandparents, right up there. Okay? Pray for them. You do that, and you make it a habit, your children will do exactly the same. As a child, I remember, my grandmother we used to have a terrace. Do you know what a terrace is? We had a massive house, and then we had this rooftop terrace. I think it was 4 floors, and then we had this rooftop terrace. Every Laylatul Qadr, every beginning of every month, she would take us up to find the moon. And Laylatul Qadr, we would go up, and she would tell us to pray under the sky, and we would do these amals under the sky, and you don't forget. You just don't forget. And the first thing after these 2 rakats, she would say, she would go to my mom, and she would go to my dad, and she would say, Mabruk, you have been forgiven. And it's amazing. Amazing what a grandma can do. A difference a parent can make. And she would especially tell my father. My father died when he was 38. But I remember her going up to him and saying, you don't have to worry. Because my father used to tell her, I give adhan. Nothing's going to happen to me. But she used to say, Mabruk, you're forgiven. And after my father died, we would still do these amals. And she would say, he's got nothing to worry about. He's chilling. So these are things that we need to keep in your head. Then you've got istighfar. Sit down for a little bit after the children have gone to sleep or whenever you've got some time and acknowledge your sins. You don't have to tell anyone. It's you. This is what I've done wrong. Whatever it is. Think, if it's done wrong to somebody, go and ask for forgiveness. Just say, I'm sorry. That's it. I'm sorry, what I did was wrong. If you can't do that, Radde Mazalim. Take something out in their name. Take some sadaqah out in their name. If you think that if you're going to go and tell them, they'll look at you and think, she talked about me. Stuff like that. You might find it difficult. Go and do that. Go and do some Radde Mazalim. Do some good for them. Remorse. Ya Allah, I won't do it again. That's what Dua Tawbah is for. It's not only for the 23rd of Ramadan. Dua Tawbah has extracts in it. When you say, I'm really, really sorry, Ya Allah. I feel so bad about what I did. I sat in that coffee morning and I just chatted my head off about someone. Didn't like that, but I did it. Can you just sort it out? I'll go and say sorry to them. Make a U-turn. Do you have sat-nav in your car? Yeah, thank God for that. Or you have Waze, or you have Google Maps, or whatever you have. Try and go the other way. And you'll say, U-turn, that's Tawbah. Just U-turn. Remember sat-nav, okay? This is God positioning service. And then tell him, I'm scared I'll go back to this. I don't know what to do. So I need help to stop doing these things that I'm doing. You've got to tell him that. And then tell him, make this my last tawbah. I don't want to do tawbah for this particular sin again. So that's acknowledgement. You have in your amals for the 21st or the 19th, which we're going to talk about. We're talking about 19th and 21st. You have this astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Then Allahumma al-an katalat amir al-mu'minin. Once, 10 times, whatever amount you want. La'na is not curse. This is where our brains go nuts. Because the translation, the Oriental translation was just not right. La'na is, Ya Allah, withdraw your mercy. Mercy is equivalent to guidance. When somebody doesn't want to listen and you have told them in every possible way, you come to a stage where you keep quiet. Yes? That's la'na. That's saying, Ya Allah, you've given them all sorts of guidance. You tried really hard. They don't want to listen. So please withdraw your mercy from them. The mercy is literally guidance for those who manifest evil and injustice because they know what they're doing is wrong. Anybody here, you don't have to be a Muslim. You don't have to have had instructions from the Quran or go to a majlis or a lecture to know that some things are wrong, full stop. Your soul tells you this is wrong, right? to kill someone, to kill somebody's heart by saying something awful. All those things are manifestations of injustice. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to be one of those people for whom this will be taken away. And then you have the Quran and the Masumin. So we put this Quran on our head because we say, like I mentioned yesterday, ala ra'si means this is so important to me, I will base my life on it. And then we take the names of the Masumin. So if you look at the next slide, Fatim, can I have the next slide, please? It looks something like this, I hope. And the next slide actually tells you a little bit about each of the Ma'sums. Now, I would print it out if I were you, like that. You can print it from I think, Fatim should put it on your Telegram group. Print it out and keep it in your dua book. So when you look at the Prophet, at least you know he was TTC. Truthful, trustworthy, and compassionate. You call it TTM if you want. I call it compassionate. All right? So the first thing when you say, Bika Ya Allah, then you say, Bi Muhammadin, don't you? Yes? Bi Muhammadin, that should come in your head. You should know who his parents were. You know he was born on the 17th of Rabiul Awwal, and you know he died on the 28th of Safar in Medina. You don't know these dates, but they're good to know. Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra was known as Abiha, the mother of her father. These are small things that you need to know. She was an awesome wife, mom, teacher, and she upholded rights. And these things should go through your mind while you're reading 10 times, Bi Fatimata. Not just how am I going to put the Quran on my head and am I going to look around, la, la, la. You got to focus on that. That's why we put just the basic things. Imam Ali, perfect student of the Prophet. Imam Hassan laid down the foundation for Imam Hussein's revolution. Yes, we talked about him. I told you it was like a ring in the finger. Him and Imam Hussein, they were together. Imam Hussein, you know, every day is Ashura, every land is Karbala. Okay? Imam Zainul Abidin, immediately, the reason why you and I are here, if there's a farsh, it's because of him and Sayyidah Zainab. So link the two together. And Sahifatul Sajjadiyah. So in your head, while you're doing the Amal, I'm going to get Sahifatul Sajjadiyah for Eid, whatever you want to do. Imam Baqir, when you say split knowledge, he made complex things easy. Something that was so difficult, he made it so easy to understand. Imam Sadiq, we're known as Ja'fari because we follow his fiqh. The way he laid it out. He had a university. 4,000 students went through. Imam Musa Qadim, oh my goodness, amazing. He resembled Prophet Musa. When you think about him, that's why his name is Musa al-Qadim. So he resembled Prophet Musa, and his patience was unshakable. Qadim, Qadima, is when something comes up to you. You know, you feel something up. And like the frustration would come up to here, but he would not show it. So, you know, when you're doing your du'as, Ya Allah, especially with my children, grant me the values of Imam Musa Qadim, right? So that I don't shout either. Imam Ali Rida, he transformed Iran into the center of knowledge. He went into a place which was completely alien. That's why it's known as Gharib al-Ghuraba. Gharib in Arabic does not mean like Arab in Gujarati. In Gujarati, Gharib means poor. In Arabic, it's a stranger. He went to a strange place, yet today he has made Iran the center of knowledge. I know Najaf is now, and all the places in Iraq are, but this is the center of knowledge. If you look at Imam Muhammad Taqi, he initiated the preparation for Ghaibah. Now, Imam Muhammad Taqi only lived for 25 years, but did an amazing job. And then you have Imam Ali al-Naqi, again, that's preparation for Ghaibah, as you can see with Imam Hassan Askari. You can read about them. We've got all the information on the website. And finally, you know, when you're talking about Imam Zamana, Ajjalallah Faraja, oh my goodness, he is here, like here, around. Mamata, if you die without knowing the Imam of your time, you die the death of Jahiliyyah. You need to know about him. When you stand up, it's not, oh God, now I've got to stand up with my Quran on my head. Am I going to balance my child? Am I going to balance my Quran? No, no, no. You're going to think about Imam Zamana. Write about him, read about him, at least before these amals. And it's really, really important. Can I go back to the other slide, please? And then we have the Munajat of Imam Ali. It is so beautiful because it compares the creator to the created. And that Munajat is not only for Laylatul Qadr. And I think we only know one tune. Is it Abadar's tune? Mawlaya ya Mawlaya, or somebody's tune. I don't know whose tune it is, right? They're phenomenal people. But try and read it and understand it. Highlight it. I'll bring it with me on the 21st and you'll be able to see it. So there's a comparison. And in essence, although we might read Joshan Kabir, sometimes they do it only on the 23rd, these are names of Allah as well in there, but he compares it to the created. Then you have Ziyarah and Dua, you have the Ziyarah of Imam Hussein. I know I've put Dua Abu Hamza Thimali and I'm pushing it a little. My children call it the lullaby. Every time I start Abu Hamza Thimali, everyone's asleep. By the time you've got to the 4th page and you look around, there's a unison of snores. Okay? So they tell me, Mama, when is the lullaby coming on? So now I use my brother, brother of sorts, because he lived with us for a long time, said Muhammad Naqvi's munajat is phenomenal. So I put that on and it works really well. I hope he's listening because he needs to know that that's what I do. Then Dua Joshan Kabir, if you want to read it, you don't have to read all 100. 10, 1, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Pick one and read it. Pick one that you like. Go through the benefits and see what's happening in your household. Tummy hurting, head hurting, problems, people will be upset. Read it, works well. And then you will have Sehri. Do you read Dua Baha for Sehri? No, you don't. Okay. Surah al-Qadr, you can manage that, can't you? You have to have Sehri. The Prophet emphasized it so much, even if it's a sip of water. Just wake up for Sehri. And then obviously, hopefully you read Salatul Layl. 1 rakat, if not the 11. And the whole of Salatul Layl, that namaz-e-witr, is about forgiveness, is it not? So you have Allahu Akbar, then you have Surah Al-Fatiha, 3 times Ikhlas, Falak and Nas. And then if you look at the Qunut, there are 7 sections to the Qunut. But all of them focus around forgiveness. Especially the bit where it says, Allahumma gfir li kulli al-mu'minina wal mu'minat. You can make 40 names. You can do that. You can write as many names as you want, and you can pick on each one. But if you don't have the time, that's fine. There's 7 times, in fact, there's 70 times, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Say it 7 times. هذا مقام وأعذبك من النار. This is a place which will save me from the fire. You have al-af as many times. It says 300. It's all right. Say it 10 times. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَارْحَمْنِي وَتُبْ عَلَيَّ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. It ends with that. It's the same thing. It's asking about istighfar. 1 rakat you can manage of Salatul Tahajjud or Layl. And then you have Salatul Fajr. And because he said Salam hiya hatta matla'il Fajr. It is peace until dawn. Try and keep awake. If you can't for the whole night, for a little bit. Doesn't really matter. But it's good if you can do the whole night. And the only way you can do it is if you sleep during the day and you have a light iftar. Otherwise, you are going to doze. It's not going to work. But imagine that this particular night will take you through for all the other nights that you might have. Okay? Can we go to the next slide and then the next slide? Please. The next one. Okay. So if you look at that, I've divided it into 4 bits. You've got istighfar for the 19th, which will be on. I won't be here on Sunday. You'll be doing them at home. You've got istighfar. You've got la'na. You've got the Quran and the Masumin. And literally, that is a commitment to follow. A commitment that you will do this Quran in a different way. Can I have the next slide on munajat, please? So just an explanation of munajat. Munajat comes from the Arabic word najwa, which means a whispered, secret, intimate conversation. In the Koji world, munajat means going on the mic and singing. Chanting. Okay? No, munajat is actually a secret conversation. One of the most beautiful munajats you have, besides munajat of Imam Ali, we'll do this later on Tuesday if we've got time, is the munajat which is known as Dua al-Hazin. Have you seen Dua al-Hazin? Dua al-Hazin is recited after Salatul Layl. Unajika ya mawjudu fi kulli makan. La'allaka tasma'u nidai. Unajik. I call you for a secret conversation. Ya mawjudu fi kulli makan. Or the one who is present in every place. It's beautiful. It starts off with unajika. لَعَلَّكَ تَسْمَعُ نِدَاءِ, so that you may hear my dua. I don't think there is a more prettier munajat than that. And that's to be recited every single day. This munajat obviously is divided into two parts. You've got refuge for the day of Qiyamah, and then like I mentioned, the relationship between Allah and the human being, and you've got Asma al-Husna in there. Can I have the next slide, please? That's Josh and Kabir. If you can manage, that's fine. And if you look at what Imam Hussein said, he said, my father advised me that I should memorize and protect this dua and write it on his coffin. This is Imam Ali telling Imam Hussein. And that I should teach it to my family and encourage them to read it, as it contains 1,000 names of Allah, and within it is Ismi Adam. Now, you are, Prophet said, not me, he said, you are not a Muslim, this is his hadith, if you do not have a kafan with you, if you don't sleep with it under your pillow. In other words, it's not hanging in your cupboard with your clothes. I suggest, very humbly, that maybe take a pen, people like to use, you know what kesar is? Saffron water. But write it with a normal pen. You write it. Don't tell me you can't write Arabic, because you can at least write a line a day or a line a week. You will finish writing it. Write it on your coffin. This is what he said. Nobody's going to touch you. When those angels come, it'll be like a force field. They'll run away. Okay, I'm telling you what it's like. It's phenomenal. We buried my aunt yesterday at midnight, their time, which is about 10 o'clock our time. And I remember when I saw her, because you saw the whole thing. These days you can see everything on Zoom. So when they took her to she had to travel 7 hours from Dar es Salaam to Moshi, and then they took her to the mosque, and then they took her to the graveyard. And when they were putting her in the cover, I recognized that coffin. I recognized what she had written with her hands, because she taught us to do that. It can't be that difficult. She made a sign a little bit and write a little bit. It's phenomenal. So do that. Makes a lot of sense. Are you good with that? Okay. So please don't forget us all in your amals. You will always be in our du'as on Sunday. And we'll see you Tuesday. Monday we're off because many of you didn't want to come Easter Monday. And also after the amals, maybe you need a bit of a break. Tuesday we've got amals. Wednesday there are no classes because they start a ladies' majlis here at 5 o'clock. Thursday we've got the amals for the 23rd all together. And then Friday we've got normal classes. Are you good with that? Okay. So let's read Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المصطفى والمرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة. Can we stand for ziyarah, please? السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن عجل الله فرجه وسهل الله مخرج وظهورك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل الساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتيه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. And because it's Friday and there are 600,000 opportunities of forgiveness for the marhumin, let's recite Surah Al-Fatiha for the marhumin, especially those of your family. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صدق الله العظيم.